Hello, this is Cuckoo. This is a different video than from what I usually do, but I'm gonna cook lunch. It's lunchtime, and usually in my studio I make my own lunch. Here is a crock pot. It's a pressure cooker, very useful for making silent and quick lunches. I'm just gonna take off the lid and turn it on because I'm gonna make a nice risotto and splash some olive oil like so. A risotto is something that's very nice and very simple to do if you have a crock pot. If you don't have a crock pot, it's actually quite cumbersome to make risotto. So I brought some ingredients. These are a little bit soggy and all. I'm gonna smell them and see if they're okay. Yeah, here's an onion. First step in making a risotto, cut the onion, chop it. Be careful with your fingers. You're gonna need your fingers to play synthesizers. Quick peel. Okay, I could have saved maybe a little bit on that. So the idea here is to make a nice, tasty risotto. I usually when I chop onion, I do it like this. I keep the end intact so that I can cut them off like this. Chop, chop, chop. Yeah. Gotta be careful with those synthesizer fingers. Onion, they can have all sorts of shapes, so you can easily cut yourself if the shape is going a little bit out of hand. There you go. Step one, complete. I just turn it onto the frying or brown or saute program. So this is gonna warm up and start preparing the onion. The reason why I'm starting with the onion is because if you fry the onion for a bit, it's gonna get much tastier than if you just toss it up and press the risotto button. The good thing with a crock pot is you can prepare stuff for about 10 minutes, put the lid on and let it do its thing. Nice. I'm gonna do the same thing with the garlic. Slice it up like that, so that it holds together by the end, making it much easier to do a quick chop like so. So the idea with the order you prepare stuff is that the stuff that needs the most frying time is what you start with, and then you just let it do its thing. I brought some celery from home. It's a bit shabby. Celery, I like it. This makes for a very nice bouillon stock. I'll be a little bit careful here because if it's just a long stick, the idea when chopping like quick like that is that never point your fingers out. You will chop them, bend them like that, and always retract the knife into the fingers. Yeah, like so. Then you always have control of where the knife is. So, and then you can start chopping faster. Very nice. I actually brought some leftover cheese from home. That's going into the risotto afterwards. I'm gonna boil the water now in this little water kettle, because if it's already boiled or warm when it's time to put the water in, it's gonna save me a lot of time. And time is of essence. They smell bad, not gonna use them. They've been in my fridge for a week. No, it smells okay. I'm gonna use it. A risotto with mushroom, very nice. They're a little bit large, so I'm gonna chop them like so. F1. So 2 large champignons. It's also very nice to pre-fry. So I'm gonna keep them in there a little bit. I brought some, what do you even call this? Over here it's called rosenkål, mini cabbage. I'm just gonna chop the ends off, maybe peel one layer off. Peel some dirty layer off. And these don't require so much cooking time, so I'm gonna put them in last. Because this is a way of making food quickly, I take a couple of shortcuts. I'm gonna pre-salt this, even at this stage, because salt is helping to break down the food and make it smooth and bring out the flavor. So at this point, I'm going to put the lid on. Just let it just hang out there for a while, just to pre-fry it a little bit faster. All right, it's about to boil. So at this point, I'm going to bring out the rice. So this is the rice I'm going to use. It's risotto rice. It's a little bit different from basmati, and you can see what it looks like. Shorter and thicker, rounder. It's made for risotto. I'm going to bring it out like that. And the way I measure is by using something like a cup, like this. And I'm using it just by eye. I know that if I fill it up like this, that's going to mean that it's a really proper big portion. So the rice and water ratio when you're cooking in a crock pot, which is sealed, is much closer to 1:1 compared to when you're cooking out in a kettle. Because here, everything is sealed, so the water is not escaping. And that means everything is still inside of it. It gets pressure cooked into the rice. So it's nearly 1:1, but just a tad more water than rice. So what I'm going to do now is season it with salt, oregano, pepper. I have like a little blend here that I use sometimes, is chili and garlic. I kind of like to have a little bit of that. And then this is coriander powder. And if the coriander powder is very, very floral and aromatic, maybe don't take as much as I'm gonna do now. Yeah, this is great. How much is stuff? I'm measuring stuff with my hands. Oregano is one of the main spice for this recipe. Like a palm. Same with the coriander powder, about as much. It might look a lot, and it is, but I think this is kind of replacing stock cubes. So I don't have any stock cubes, so you're gonna pick the right spice to get the flavor going. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 grounds of pepper. And with pepper, black pepper, it's always very individual from type to type. This one, give it a little bit more. This is optional. You don't need this in a good risotto. Maybe it's even like a no-no to use chili in risotto, but I like it. Just a tad of it to go into a slightly different direction. Cool. And then I'm gonna bring the rest of the salt later. So now it's time to toss this in. And I'm taking the already warm water, filling it up to the same amount and topping it off a bit, like so. At this point, it's time to do the salt. Same thing with salt. Some salt is very salty, some salt is not very salty. So you need to know your salt. So let's have it a zip. Right now, almost no salt. I'm gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When making risotto this way, I think it's very easy to recognize that the stock is going into the rice. Yeah, I need more. I'm gonna take everything. Actually, I'm out of salt, so that's the last we have. So the rule of thumb is make it as tasty as you can, and then add even more salt to make it a bit too salty at this stage, because all of that salt is going to be absorbed by the rice, which is currently not salted at all. Let's put the lid on real quick, see if it works. Sometimes when I pre-cook it like that, it could be a bit difficult. With pressure cooking, we've got 2 positions of this. One is to keep the damp and keep the water and moist in and build up pressure. That's the one we're going to use. Pressing rice risotto, it says 12 minutes, low pressure. I could go for that, but I know for a fact that sometimes I need maybe a couple of more minutes, so I'm going to top it up to 14 minutes. Let's go. Start. So now, all we need to do is wait. So now I'm gonna prepare the cheese. It's gonna go into it after it's ready. You can use any cheese, but I'd prefer to use the harder type of cheese. Grana Padano and Parmigiano Reggiano. Yeah, both of them work really well for risotto. You take what you have, right? Take what you have. I'm just gonna chop it up and then stir it in afterwards. There we go. And if you don't have the cheese, no worries. It's gonna be a very nice risotto regardless. But if you do have some cheese, it's gonna take it to new heights. Counting down. 1 minute left. There you go. It's ready to go. I'm gonna stop it right away. Don't need to keep it warm anymore. I'm gonna release the steam. If I just open the vent right now, it's gonna just blow out like that. It might also stain the walls and stuff around it a little bit. So what I usually do, I got like a little towel for that, just to prevent the damp to go all over the place. So, like so. Wasn't that much this time. Good to go. As you know, if you know good risotto, I think a good risotto should have a little bit of chewing, so it shouldn't be all absorbed and all soggy like most rices. No, should be a little bit on the chewy side. So what I'm gonna do now, take the cheese in and let the cheese melt in this hot, nice risotto. If you have, you can also bring some butter in if you're into that. I think it's not really needed actually, to be honest. A good cheese, stir it into the risotto, and I think it's good to go. But in most recipes, I think there is butter in the end, and when you do that, it's got to get even more kind of creamy. But I don't need it. This is quick cooking in my studio, so let's go. Let's have a taste. It's so good. I have no idea how many times I made risotto for lunch. I love it.